Can you listen to me? Are you able to?
Waalaikumsalam, saya dapat.
Dapat, okay. Okay, kita tunggu Ustaz lah. Dia orang, berapa orang? 6 orang je. Pula saya 2, 4 lah. Lima orang. Okay, tak apalah, kita start dulu. Do you have any questions that you want to ask, guys? Ada apa-apa tak before kita ni, where I'm going to do this question. Let's look at the question. Why I'm bringing this question, because so far I nampak the past years, say for example kita ambil this one 2014, this particular question, kalau kita skim through, there would be granom. Nampak tak granom kat sini? Okay. Can you see my area yang I tunjuk ni? Nampak?
Nampak, saya.
Nampak cursor Okay. Dan kalau kat sini nampak granom. Ni this one 2012. And then yang ni pula 2014. Pun granom juga. Okay. Basically, what I want to do is for today's class is to be able to answer problematic question on Kelson. Because your finals definitely akan ada problematic question. Okay. So I have no idea what kind of question that is coming out, but still we have to look at the situation, the probability. The probability here, chances of Kelsons to come out is quite high. So might as well kita buat soalan on Kelson. So look at the question, read, and try to have some apa kata, proposal lah, ataupun any idea on how you are going to answer this question. Boleh? Okay. Baca. Macam mana you dah your plan to answer this question? Macam mana guys? Do you have any idea? Then we have Aisha to start.
Sir, I'm still trying to understand.
Uh-huh.
Then, what the what would be the content for the answer?
Macam mana sekali lagi?
No, I'm still trying to plan on what
Oh,
would
okay, right.
okay.
Siapa? The rest? Ada? Do you have any idea? Takiyuddin? Macam mana? Hi guys, kita tengah buat soalan you refer to your WhatsApp group punya question that I posted. Okay. Boleh tak? Ataupun you rasa nak terjun bangunan? Macam mana you nak relate? Guys? Macam mana? Takiyuddin belah daripada session Oh, mentang-mentang. Mana? Takiyuddin mana balik? Oh, you all lari ya.
Takiyuddin kata dia tak dengar kan?
Tak dengar. Okay, Takiyuddin dah masuk balik dah. Okay. So, how are you to plan your answer looking at this question? Obviously, the time spent mestilah lebih pada the second part rather than the first part. So kita attack the bigger one, the more marks first. Macam mana you nak jawab? Any idea? Guys? Lidah kelu? Tak. Hanis Sofia. Try. Hanis?
Sir, my internet connection is unstable.
Ya
So,
ke?
I'm just
Try. Takiyuddin? Hanis tak dapat, tak stable. You don't have to worry about whether you are going to make mistake or not. Tak apa. You know, the art of trying is the one that what we want You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be correct. You know. But it started with your attempt. Kalau you tak try, you tak akan dapat jawab. Tak tahu sama ada you betul ke tak. Tapi by the moment you tak jawab, then you are not going to get any apa marks at all. So come on. Yes. I don't want to force. Alia, Alia Zafira, macam mana?
Yes, sir. Sorry,
Ah.
sir. Sorry, I just joined the meet. What
Uh-huh.
was the question?
The question tu kan ada dalam you punya ni WhatsApp soalan. I dah suruh baca dah.
Salam, sir. Can I try the second question?
Apa tu? No Sofia. Oh, good.
So the question is asking us to explain cases in regards to Kelsen's theory.
Uh-huh.
So, in answering this question, firstly for the introduction part, I'll first try to explain what is the pure theory of law under Kelsen, and
Good.
explain a bit of ground. And then explain a bit of ground norm, but particularly for the introduction, I'll explain about in cases revolution, how does Kelsen's theory apply? Basically, because his theory is centered around the idea of a ground norm, the basic norm that has to be upheld. In cases of revolution, it states that that sort of norm is toppled down by a new norm because revolution takes place, because society embraces a new set of norms. So with that being said, I'll explain that. Then I have several cases. I have two cases. I think I have two cases that I'm confident can be used. Firstly is in the case of Madzimbamuto v. Lardner and Burke. In this case, the plaintiff was detained under the law of the old regime, and then happened the revolution. So then it was argued whether he can be charged or not. But the Privy Council held that the unilateral declaration of independence was invalid because it was unconstitutional without regards to the colonial power of the British. So this basically means that that sort of revolution was not necessarily was not actually particularly legit because it wasn't approved by the British, so he can't be prosecuted. Because given that Kelsen has several other theories such as principle of legitimacy, principle of reception, there are some other cases that falls under these principles that I think can be inserted in this question. Another case that can also be used is in the case of Begum Nusrat against the chief of army staff.
Good.
Where this case discussed the principle of necessity, and had temporarily recognized the new regime after the revolution for the purpose of maintaining law. So this is after the other principles have also taken place. When it comes to the principle of necessity, it was held by the court that the court would allow extra constitutional laws to be applied for the welfare of the people. So this part of his principle illustrates how change is also to some extent embraced by his very own theory. So yeah, these are the two
Very,
cases that I would
very
use.
good. So
Yeah.
very good. So it will be a very good foundation for you to start your argument, and then going around and criticizing and your analytical view of that particular problem in hand. So if you were to apply this to this problem,
Um.
what would you say?
I think because I'm unsure myself, sir, but I would just apply along the lines saying that revolution can be accepted in certain cases, even if it is in regards to new forms of morality like religion being accepted by the society. I think I would try to reply in a sense saying that it's possible if revolution takes place, and after that it depends on the society whether they want to embrace Islamic principles or whatnot. Tapi
Okay.
I am very not sure, sir. Sebab I only know the macam because the law tu sudah mention dalam lecture, application tu saya very not sure.
Nah, but the fact that you have done your reading, further reading, from the things that I already mentioned, which is very good lah. I'm quite impressed with the way that you answered just now. For the rest, macam mana? Are you able
Thank you,
to
sir.
are you able to follow Sophia punya ni?
Yes, sir.
Betul kan ni? Atika cerita sikit.
From what I understand from what Sophia explained just now is how we relate the principle explained by Hans Kelsen on the grand norm.
Very good.
Therefore, as she also cited several cases, and also her opinion, like in certain situation we may accept revolution, like that. So I understand us.
Okay. The rest, Beverly. Macam mana? Beverly? I just want to share. Semua ni problem ni start. I think the case when it comes to Pakistan, it started with the British rule. When they rule, they use draconian punya laws. Yeah. So draconian punya laws is implemented whereby you can be sentenced without, dia macam ISA juga lah. You know, you can be sentenced and then your property can be confiscated, and then the family members, though they are not involved in the crime, they are also to be punished, you know. You can wiki it up. In fact, I dah buka dah a few. Okay. Just to share with you. It continues until today, the problem of what they are facing. Here, this is the regulation, the regulation that the one that they continue from the British. Yeah, they received their independence 1947. However, they are still regulated by the British. Macam kita juga lah. Our Privy Council is monitoring our progress in terms of our freedom. So this frontier crimes regulation, actually dia tak ada no basic right, not applicable. There is no appeal, no wakil, no dalil. There is no wakil, meaning for those yang Muslim tahu lah, tak ada wakil, tak ada dalil, tak ada nas or evidence that you can put up. There's no right to represent yourself, you know. So that what happened in the case of Daso, whereby in the case of Daso here, so what happened was he was tried under but knowing Pakistan, dia ni pelik sikit lah Pakistan ni. Pakistan ni dia ada north and south. Dia ada apa orang kata, an area that is not governed by their constitution. It is considered as apa orang panggil dalam kita punya ni? Apa dia panggil ni? Tribal areas here, a special area that is under provision, that is not controlled by Pakistan directly, but autonomous lah, kita lebih kurang autonomous. They have their own laws, and the laws that they apply were the one that British tinggal. You know, anyone can be sentenced without without normal justification. So case Daso ni, whereby the fight of the family members that brought the thing to the court, and the court kata that law, the FCR tu 1901 tadi tu, yang British left to them without ability for them to have defend, you know, evidence and so on. in fact lagi teruk kalau you baca FCR 1901 ni dengan the way the British control the group of people there, apa, Pashtun, the Pashtun people. So kalau kita tengok ni, they fight and then the High Court said that it is okay, it is FCR is null and void lah, because it goes against the federal constitution. But the problem here is when it went up to the courts to decide, meaning the upper courts, I mean the Supreme Courts, ada pula what they call it, revolution, coup, that is the junta, meaning the army took over. So the army reject the federal constitution, whereby the decision under High Court of Lahore is being made by referring to the constitution, but the constitution is no longer there, right? So since the constitution no longer there,
Sorry to interrupt,
yeah, sorry.
sir. Fatin Nur Shakira is trying to
ask.
join.
add on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, coming back kat mana tadi? So Daso ni is tergantung lah, because the decision of the High Court is basically towards the fundamental rights, that you are able to get representation, you are able to go up and appeal. There is no sense of appeal under that particular law. So, but since the federal constitution was removed by the coup, by the army, so the army it reinstalled all other law without the constitution. So the head is no longer there, but the body is there. Okay, so the body is being being supported by this so-called martial law lah. Now the question of the court, Supreme Court, to decide in favor of Daso ataupun tak. So the court says that they apply Kelsen punya idea lah, where when there is a necessity for you to do that, and when you look at the coup or revolution, if it's done in a manner of peace, there is no opposition to the takeover. So in other words, the society is accepting lah. So the coup is considered as valid. Okay, so whenever the coup is considered as valid, any law that the new leader, the Ayub Khan as the leader, when they came out with that martial law, so that martial law is considered as acceptable. So under the martial law pula, martial law says the federal constitution or the constitution is to be rejected, but other laws to be maintained. So kalau kita tengok, Kelsen kata the basic norm must be supported by legal norm kan. So all the legal norms in the society make up the foundation, and then we will have the basic norm. Basic norm is so important to the legal system. So kalau tak ada lagi basic norm, which is the supreme constitution, which is the constitution of Pakistan, then we have to change it with another one, which is the martial law. So starting from then onwards until today, they are still under martial law lah. They are still under macam Myanmar, they are controlled by the military. Boleh nampak? So that is where, kalau patah balik dekat question, dia kata this one in 1972, they apply in the case of Jalani government Punjab. Supreme Court tried to reject the Kelsen model, and because the decision was made in Daso. Okay, so Daso sebelum kes ni, so Daso acknowledge the Kelsen punya theory. So the new government is valid, and whatever law they create is considered as valid by virtue of Kelsen. But the later courts try to remove the Kelsen punya model, and this can also look at the way that they are trying to do it, and by saying that you don't have to really look at the grand norm in order for you to to legitimize the government. Yeah, you have to look at what other doctrines that we have. They are trying to remove away from Kelsen punya Kelsen punya ties over the country of Pakistan. Because Kelsen ni dia dah buka the ability for the for government to conduct revolution, yeah, or anyone to conduct a revolution, or any any coup to take place in order to take over the country. So you nampak lepas daripada lepas daripada satu take over akan ada dia satu take over, you know. Kita, kalau you tengok the history of Pakistan, there are several number of coup. So because the first one that took place, and the decision of the Supreme Court in Daso saying that the process of takeover, the new government took over when there is no kind of resistance, it was in peace, everyone is okay. So therefore, the government is legitimate because they have every rights to bring in a new basic norm. Yeah, their basic norm, which is the military punya laws are considered as good lah, considered as good law. Martial law is considered as good law, even though it throws away all the rights. So in that case, what happened was Daso ni when he was tried under FCR tadi kan, so saya ingat dia lah, there is no way that they can appeal because the law is specifically under kejap ada call. Hello. Yeah. Oh, sorry, saya ada kelas. Menyibuk. Alright. So faham tak? So FCR ni Daso dia tak dapat nak appeal lah, because even though Lahore High Court is on their part saying that the action of the so-called apa ni, mana dia, so-called the order, mana dia, where is it? These federal administrated tribal areas ni, which they have their own law regulation ni, where this regulation tak ada appeal, tak ada wakil, tak ada dalil, right? So Daso was you know, they fail lah in winning the case when it went to High Court, because the High Court is more towards implementing Kelsen punya idea to legitimize the new government. So boleh nampak more or less. So you do have to look up that cases, yeah, in order for you to argue. Some people, some countries they apply, when they apply Kelsen model, then they will get the outcome of their decision. But in terms of Pakistan, they just want to don't want to stick to Kelsen, because whatever laws that they have in Pakistan, sometimes it goes against the against fundamental rights of a person. Dan kalau ini nak, dia boleh baca ini tailor-made laws when it comes to the problem of the decision in the case of Daso. Until sampai today, they are facing problem. Okay, this situation. You nak I boleh bagi, I mean you can Google aja lah, senang kan, wiki je. Okay, boleh nampak tak? So critically comment on the application of Kelsen pure theory of law. It depends on the situation, whether the basic norm is is accepted or not. It is based on whether the revolution was taken in peace or in whether there is no resistance. Maksudnya bila tak ada resistance, meaning the society is able to accept the new basic norm that is being introduced. So katalah, I remember in class, I kata, if say for example, PAS took over and then PAS change the federal constitution, eliminate federal constitution, dia kata now the constitution for Malaysia is Al-Quran. Right, so with that, their interpretation of Al-Quran, semua orang tak kira perempuan, perempuan Islam ke tak, semua kena pakai purdah. So if there is no resistance from the society, then it is considered as valid lah, that revolution ataupun that coup. Boleh nampak guys?
Boleh, sir.
Faham kata?
Faham,
Boleh tak?
sir.
Sure boleh faham? Boleh nak jawab Okay, kalau Islamic macam mana? Islamic? Anyone? Danisha? Or we are going to have problems from the non-Muslim lah. Beverly, macam mana? Natalie? Are you okay with the question? Discuss the above statement in context of Islamic idea on sovereignty.
Saya cuba dia.
Good.
Okay, untuk discuss the above statement in context of Islamic ideas on sovereignty. Okay, firstly, Allah is the absolute arbiter of values, and it is His will that determines good and evil, whether right and wrong. It is neither the will of the ruler nor any of assembly of men, not even the community as a whole, which determines the values and the laws which uphold those values. And in its capacity as the vicegerent of God, the Muslim community is entrusted with the authority to implement the Sharia, to administer the justice, and to take all the necessary measures in the interest of good government. In continuation, the sovereignty of the people, if the used word of sovereignty is at all appropriate, it is a delegated or executive sovereignty only. Although the consensus or ijma of the community or if of its learned members is a recognized source of law in Islam, in the final analysis, ijma is a submissive divine revelation and can never overrule the explicit injunction of the Quran and Sunnah.
Apa dia?
Apa?
The last one.
Ijma is submissive divine revelation and can never overrule the explicit injunctions of Al-Quran and Sunnah.
Macam mana? What do you mean by that statement?
Maksudnya tak boleh.
Ijma can overrule or not?
Macam mana?
Tak, I dengar macam ijma can overrule Al-Quran and Hadis.
Tak. Ijma can never overrule the explicit injunction of Quran and Sunnah.
Okay. They just interpret, but they cannot they cannot overrule clear directive. So kalau say for example the country is oppressive in a way that they kill people just like what the Nazis are doing, so can you have action of revolution against the country?
Boleh ulang boleh Ustaz?
Kalau if say for example the country in question is applying Islamic ideas, but they were to do killing of people, like what happened in Kashmir, what happened in Afghanistan, when they took over, especially Libya, Syria, especially Syria lah. So they came in, they say that they are applying Islamic ideas, but they kill people. unjustified, without prosecution, proper prosecution and things like that. Is it something that is in line with Islamic principle?
No, sir.
So ijma of them, the ijma meaning their interpretation of the Al-Quran and Hadith cannot override the Al-Quran when the Al-Quran says that you are not to kill people, right?
Yes, sir. That's the basis of it.
Very good. So sovereignty is whereby the government is to maintain the principle, the correct principle of Islamic laws, which is by virtue of Al-Quran and Hadith. But if they were to interpret by coming out with their ijma, consensus, ijma is consensus for those yang dah lupa, consensus that they believe it must be in a way that they can kill people or segregate people or make sure that people are doing something of their interpretation, then it will be wrong, yeah, and there is no sovereignty in terms of that. Okay, boleh faham guys?
Boleh, sir.
Boleh,
Apa
sir.
ni, apa ni betul ke boleh ni? Risau lah kami. Tapi boleh
Betul.
lah tadi pun Hanis pun Hanis. Siapa yang cakap the first one? Allahu Akbar. Sofia dah cakap dah, elaborate in that manner. I ambil Sofia je lah ya as benchmark towards the rest, insyaAllah. So with that, kita nampak you have to do in that manner. First, you are to establish the juries of your choice, and then second, you try to apply to the problem that is given. So again, as I already mentioned, there is part A, you choose the juries. Obviously, here is only 2, and then you apply to the problem, which is actually critical analysis of the problem. So by virtue of cases lah. So kita nampak kita kena pakai cases. So kalau soalan macam ni keluar dalam exam, what you have to do is to find all the necessary cases in order to support your argument. Boleh guys?
Boleh, sir.
Alright.
Boleh,
So
sir.
we end the session for today, and then we will continue with other questions insyaAllah in the future. InsyaAllah.
Alright, sir.
Alright. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum.
sir, for the
Thank you much, sir.
Thank you. Baca sikit nak tak faham tanya I balik.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum. Take care.
Waalaikumsalam.